about the topic of guns and weapons bans. The poll, according to Stephen Shepard writing about it a few days ago, saying that found that nearly 70% of all voters would back a ban on so-called assault weapons. Support for that ban was higher at 86% among Democrats and who have been pushing for new restrictions. The poll found that 55% of GOP voters were comfortable with banning assault weapons, and 54% said they would support stricter gun laws more generally. 90% say they would back universal background checks for gun sales, and only 23% of all voters oppose an assault weapons ban, according to the poll. Again, you can find that at Politico. When it comes to new legislation or potential new legislation, what would you be comfortable with, if anything, when it comes to areas of compromise, whether it be a weapons ban, a red flag law, or another approach, or perhaps you're not one to say that, you're one to say that no new laws are necessary. Give us a call on the lines on our Facebook page and our Twitter feed. Republican line from Scottsdale, Arizona. This is Drew. Drew, good morning.
It's a shame because I think that it's such an emotional, issue, and but we have a Second Amendment right this morning. And I want to point out that this morning we had a caller call in basically calling for a tax, saying that we should make ammunition so expensive, so that only rich people can shoot guns. We don't think this thing through, and we have to remember that our politicians, whether we like it or not, took an oath to protect and defend the Constitution, including the Second Amendment. And I would like to point out that the United States ranks 66 among other world nations when it comes to mass shootings. You can get that at WJLA News.
So when it comes to when you hear the president talk about possibly working with Congress and passing some type of legislation, what goes through your mind when you hear the president speak in these terms?
Well, I'm going to have to wait, and see what he comes out with. I don't like to see people that are criminals and mentally ill being able to have guns and do these things. But one thing I've noticed is that these shootings almost always take place in a gun-free zone. And another thing is that we do need to stop people that are mentally ill, from getting guns. And I think that background checks are okay. I'm not an unreasonable person. I just don't like the emotion. I like people to actually research facts and kind of calm down and cool off. I know it's such an emotional thing, but we really have to do that, especially when it's so heated.
Do you think at the end of the day Congress will do anything?
Probably not this Congress, because they're too concerned about, Russian hoaxes and fighting. We're too close to an election time, to be honest with you, so probably not. I don't have a lot of faith in Congress.
That's true. In Scottsdale, Arizona, calling on our line for Republicans, another Republican calling us this morning. This is Larry in Fort Myers, Florida, a gun owner himself. Larry, hello.